The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Let's make some magic.
It is magic time. Hello, and welcome once again to the Warren and Bradley Show. I am one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
The other host, Warren Van.
It is episode 68 of the Warren and Bradley Show, only one away from magical 69. I have way too much to talk about. I did get to go to the bagelry this weekend and had lots of horrible encounters with people. I think I need to take on some sort of alter ego persona of, I don't know, manners man or something, where I go around and correct people's horrible behavior because I'm constantly confronted with it. Let's see if I can backtrack and tell the story in the order in which it took place. But, well, yesterday, first of all, I tried to do my whole bagelry thing. It was raining like a bastard. It's a Saturday before St. Patrick's Day, and we have a parade in Bellingham for St. Patrick's Day. I don't know why. We have maybe 4 Irish people. I think I know who they all are, who live in this city.
Yeah.
Pouring down with rain. There were maybe 10 people watching this stupid fucking parade, but they had all these streets shut down in downtown. They had bifurcated the city, so you couldn't go from the south to the north part of the city. I had to backtrack everywhere. The stupid horses riding around the rain looking miserable, and people with stupid green hats wandering around. It was pointless. This isn't New York. We don't have a huge Irish immigrant population or anything.
Yeah, people like parades for some reason. I don't understand it.
I fucking hate parades. They're
Yeah,
the
I'm not a
stupidest
fan.
thing in the... You sit there on the side of the road and watch idiots walk by.
Yeah.
What is the point of this?
Didn't understand as a child, and I don't understand as an adult.
And why are we jumping on the parade bandwagon? We have the St. Patrick's Day parade. We have some ridiculous gay pride parade where, again, we have hardly any sort of gay population living in the city.
Yeah.
This is not West Hollywood. This is not San Francisco in the Mission District or anything. This is ridiculous. Fine. Have a parade where it makes sense, you know?
Where the people live?
Where the people live.
Okay. We should have like a white person parade.
Well, there's a bunch of... Well, yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah.
You have a bunch of a bunch of straight people wearing rainbow flags marching down. We love gay people. Well, that's great. But you're not gay, so why are you marching in a gay pride parade? I don't know. I got really annoyed. Somebody backed into me, too, while I was trying to drive around. They started pulling out of a parking space, and I was honking and honking and honking, and they just went and knocked into my truck.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was irritating. Then getting to the bagelry, this actually happened today. Went to the front where you're supposed to pay. There was a woman who, she had just like wandered in front of me even though I was waiting there to pay. She had 2 little children. Her little boy jumped up onto the counter where the cash registers are and started kicking his legs everywhere, kicked my coffee cup and sloshed coffee all over my hand and like on my pants. Started grabbing shit off the counter, like there was a little desk calendar and a cup with pens and just slamming them around. His older sister, who was probably like 8, was like, "You need to get down from there, get down." His mom said, "No, it's okay." It's not okay. This is not okay. And the poor person who was trying to actually like ring people up with this little hellion kicking around, he was like throwing himself all over the counter. She wanted to say something, but she was obviously too polite. So I said, again, as manners man, correcting people's behavior when they step out of line, I said, "Actually, you probably should have him get off the counter." And she gave me just this look, staring daggers at me, like, "How dare you say something like that?" And I said, "He is causing a disruptance. He's disturbing people. He's in the way. Why don't you make him get off the counter?" And she went, oh my God. And she was so affronted, but she pulled him off the counter. I shouldn't be the one forced to tell these people. I don't want to have any interaction with these people, but I can't just watch these horrible grievances go by without saying something.
You need to get out more, I think.
This is the problem, is me getting out.
No, it's just you have this one big trip for the week, and then you have all this pent-up rage, and even the driving to get a bagel enrages you, the getting to the bagel place, the ordering process, people on the line with you, everything just enrages you.
It's just people, Warren. People.
Yeah, I think you know, maybe if you got out there, maybe joined a club of some sort.
What kind of club?
I don't know. There's probably like a model airplane club or something. Somewhere where you could talk to other people, interact with them.
I did have
rageaholics or something.
I don't rage at people. I mean, I'm always very polite. But I think one thing that we lack in our society is that nobody ever holds anyone accountable for anything. People act like dicks, and people just let it go constantly.
Who do you want to hold accountable for the fact there's a parade?
Whatever city official was stupid enough to give the go-ahead for this parade. I'll hold them accountable. I want to deputize people. They'll work under me. I'll be the organizational head, and they will be, I don't know, social deputies, where they go around and they have been empowered by me. They have letters of marque from me, and they can tell people when they're stepping out of line, acting in a rude manner, just throwing a spanner in the works of our society, because things have to work smoothly. People have to treat each other in a certain way. There has to be politeness. There has to be consideration for your fellow human. And when people just blatantly, blithely throw shit around, they don't care. They're the only person in existence. They don't care how they affect anyone else. And then other people just let them behave in this manner. It never ends. It's a never-ending cycle. And then those people get pissed off because somebody was a dick to them. So then they are a dick to somebody else. We just need to call people on their shit when they commit their shit, immediately after committing their shit, and then maybe that will put a stop to this kind of thing.
But what if one of the people who likes a parade was given this power, and then they would just have parades every day?
Well, there would be a very exhaustive screening process, and they would have to answer a series of questions that I would put forth. I would give them hypothetical situations. You're standing in line, a little kid starts freaking out and kicking around everywhere. What do you do?
We live in a world that we live in.
Yeah.
We don't live in the idealized world, the utopian world. You need to reconcile yourself to the world that actually exists, and not the fascist Republic of Brad where everyone obeys your dictates. You can't aspire to that because you're never going to get there.
Well, maybe, but I mean, you look at societies like in Japan, where people are ultra careful about not pissing each other off.
Okay.
And they've had to do that because they've lived in such close proximity to each other for so long. It's a little island. People are packed in there. Yeah. And they realize that if they don't have consideration for each other, then everything just explodes. And so a culture has evolved over the years where people are insanely considerate of people. You don't talk on your cell phone loudly on the bus. You wear a mask when you're sick so you don't spread your germs to other people. You make room for people. You're polite to people.
And you finger women on the subway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's certain repressed urges that are going on.
Yeah, that happens.
No society's perfect, but,
Yeah.
But I think that America evolved as this land of huge expanses, open spaces, independence, people just going and doing their own thing, which I'm a fan of individuality. But
I don't know. I wonder.
But society has changed. We are living in closer proximity to each other now, and we can't just have everyone going off the reservation and acting like crazy people.
But I think that I can understand that if there was some problem with a lot of violence and people were being injured and hurt. Most of your issues have to do with getting in lines at bagel shops and having to go a couple blocks out of your way when you're driving to a bagel shop.
I don't want people to be dicks. That's all I care about.
But your criteria for somebody being a dick is anything that slightly inconveniences you.
Well, no, because you've agreed with me in the past as people not having regard for other people and just not realizing that their behavior is affecting other people in an adverse way or not caring.
Yeah, that's true. But it's you're never going to change the other people.
Well, I think my guidelines, my plans, my deputies calling people out.
No one's going to call anyone out.
I think we need to have some sort of Kickstarter campaign, and I can get some money for this, and we'll get this going.
So your Kickstarter campaign to control society?
Yes, it'll be to give me money,
your rules,
and then I don't know. I'll create some sort of secret organization.
This is worrying.
It's kind of like the brown shirts.
I know exactly.
So I had some other awkward interactions. There's a guy who works at the grocery store, which I often frequent, who I hadn't seen in a long time. And I had met him outside of work. I think I'd seen him at a show a couple times or something, and we had struck up a little kind of an acquaintance sort of thing where when he saw me at the store, he'd be like, hey, how's it going? And he would talk about music. I think that was the thing that he thought we had in common or something. Nice guy, whatever. Hadn't seen him in several months. And I saw him in there the other day, and he looked a little off. Couldn't quite place what was going on, but he didn't quite seem himself. And I made a joke because we had a friendly sort of rapport.
Did you make a joke about him looking off?
Well, I was like, God, you look like shit. Because we had a relationship in the past where I would come in my work clothes and he would talk about how horrible I looked. Like, oh, you look awful. What have you been doing all day? It was sort of that kind of rapport.
Which makes sense, but I don't know if someone actually doesn't look well to say that to them.
Well, I don't know.
Then you're just calling attention to it.
Maybe. And then he said, well, I had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I realized when I looked a little closer, I could see that there was a giant scar on his head and there had been surgery performed and
Wow.
And he couldn't focus his eyes properly, apparently, and there were a lot of issues involved.
Back at work, though, huh?
Yeah.
Huh, wow.
So I felt kind of like a dick.
Well, I'm sure on his podcast he's wishing people would stop doing things like that.
If my deputies were out, they probably could have confronted me at that time, and I would take full responsibility for making a social faux pas.
Yeah, you should be a little more sensitive to people who may have just had like brain surgery or something.
Another interesting sociological thing that I was watching the other day, I got off work early during the week, and so I went downtown. And I was watching as the meter maid was going around and looking at the parking meters and writing tickets for people. And I don't even know what a parking ticket costs in Bellingham. It's not that much. It's not a huge deal.
No.
It's like $25 or $15. I don't know. But it was really interesting to watch the reactions that people had to the parking tickets when they got back to their car.
Yeah.
Like some people had this resigned look, like, oh my God. Other people seemed a little angry, a little affronted. There was this one simian-looking guy who had a hairline that was basically just like half an inch above his eyebrows, just like this. He looked like an orangutan, basically. He came up and saw the parking ticket. He went, oh, and I could see his face just turn red immediately, bright red.
Yeah.
He grabbed the parking ticket, and he crumpled it up and ripped it into pieces and threw it down on the ground. Now, that's not showing anybody because they have record.
Yeah.
They have his license plate number. They know that they gave him a ticket. All he's doing is forcing himself to pay more money.
Well, it's odd, too, because it's like he was in violation of the parking laws, right?
Yeah.
So he made a mistake and he got a ticket.
He did.
Why? Where's the rage? I mean, he shouldn't be angry.
No.
Maybe a little upset with himself for being like, oh, I should have got back the meter. Now I'm going to pay $15.
Right.
To think that that's like somebody getting you.
And see, that's not how I behave.
Oh,
so
no?
You think I'm full of rage. Like, if I got a parking ticket, I would say, okay, well,
Yeah.
I was here too long and I didn't feed the meter. Speaking of feeding the meter, though, there was a little busker dude playing guitar out front of the bagelry, and when he saw the meter maid coming, he took a bunch of the change that he had in his guitar case, and he started feeding meters for people. Meters that were expired. Meter maid flipped out. She went crazy. And they got in a huge shouting match.
You're not supposed to do that.
Well,
because those
I
people
know.
are in violation.
I know you're not supposed to do it, but we had that news story, I think, a while ago where there was that old woman who actually got arrested for feeding people's parking meters.
Yeah.
But see, I like that. I think that's a nice thing to do. And it's funny that the guy was begging on the street, playing guitar, but he took his hard-earned
it's crazy.
busking money and he put it in the meters.
Helping people that have cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
They can
nice.
afford a ticket.
And her whole thing was that he should have asked her first to feed the parking meters, which is kind of a strange thing to say.
Then you just say no, right?
I would assume so.
You have to ask a meter maid if you want to feed a parking meter.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
So what's been going on with you, Warren?
Well, you know what today is?
St. Patrick's Day.
Even more important.
What's that?
Selection Sunday.
What does that mean?
That means this is the day they pick all the teams for the NCAA tournament for basketball. So I probably think we should break down all 68 teams when the brackets come out. I think they're coming out any moment now. Strengths and weaknesses. Talk about some of the matchups.
Right.
Make our, predictions about the future.
I think if you want, you can have a separate supplementary episode where you break down the
NCAA tournament
Selection
breakdown?
Sunday.
Yeah.
I have never, ever paid any attention to college basketball ever.
Oh, you're missing out.
And I still find it rather strange that people care at all. I find it strange that people care about sports in general, but I kind of get it.
You should get out there. Maybe watch some more sports. I gotta say, you've had 3 anecdotes on the show.
Yeah.
2 of them were at the bagel place you go to every time. The other one was at the grocery store. Those are the only places you go.
I'm trying to think of other places I go. I go to the convenience store occasionally.
Your world's like really narrowing down.
It has shrunk down quite a bit.
And now it's like you go to a bagel place and are enraged by the things you see, or you're like amused and laughing at like what's happening outside the bagel shop.
Everything is kind of like heightened emotionally. You are. It is true.
You're getting a little bit like pinned into like a weird place here.
It's when you've got to fit all your living into a very short amount of time. Like when I actually emerge from my apartment, and so I have to have the highs and the lows and the drama and the
Yeah. All on a trip to get a bagel.
If there were only single women who hung out at the bagelry, then I could basically, my whole life could just be live there.
You want sort of a morning thing going on where you could meet
hookup
young, attractive women?
The bagelry, yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. Although I unless we had some sort of thing like the Central Perk on Friends, I feel like if you went there, you could meet like young, attractive women.
Well, everyone always says that you are supposed to get some sort of hobby, or you join a club or something, and you'll meet like-minded people.
Something.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
What club would you join?
Club.
I mean, you're into sports. You're into Selection Sunday. There aren't going to be a lot of. I mean, you already have a girlfriend, so it doesn't matter. But if
I watch
you
sports with people.
Yeah,
that's a social activity.
But girls.
So I watched sports with some friends of ours yesterday afternoon. We were watching sports together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
and we bonded over that.
We bonded over that. We were watching the basketball, but then a Seattle Sounders game came on. Mm-hmm. And because everyone who lives here is a bunch of bandwagon jumping, like wannabe Europeans.
Right.
Everyone's like, woo, soccer. So everyone puts on their Sounders things and goes in there and starts cheering and like, oh, the suspense of the soccer game. So we made fun of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do like things. There are things that I do like, but I usually like them because they involve me doing them by myself. There are things that I can do on my own.
Yeah.
I can edit things. I can play guitar. I can maybe play SimCity for a while when the servers are working, watch movies. I try to have people over to watch movies, and occasionally friends will come over and we'll watch a movie. They talk a lot during the movie. I don't like that. Yeah, there's not a whole lot. Not a whole lot of options.
You're really heading in a very much of a hermited direction here.
Yeah, well, you're the one who wanted to be a hermit, I thought, but I think I'm the one who's actually acting out that lifestyle.
I just don't know if you're going to work all day and like pounding away by yourself, and then pounding away at the computer all night by yourself. Then you end up at the bagelry just in this like state of like heightened awareness to everyone around you. Yeah. And it's almost too much to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough. That's not going to work.
But enough about me.
Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
Okay, we're going to try to do celebrity news. There was a huge disaster, though, as I attempted to look up celebrity stories for today. The MSN Wonderwall was out of commission, and that is basically my main research hub for celebrity stories.
I don't know how the MSN Wonderwall just became Wonderwall became the default source for our stories.
And almost every story they grab is from Us Weekly anyway, so I decided, hey, maybe I'll just go to Us Weekly. And
that was a good idea.
Yeah. I'm thinking there. So we've got a few stories here. We'll see what we can get into here. From Us Weekly, every single one of these stories will be from Us Weekly. Exclusive. Lil Wayne is not close to death, but he just drank too much sizzurp.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if anyone has heard recently, but Lil Wayne was rushed to the hospital. TMZ had reported that he was in a coma at LA's Cedars-Sinai Medical Center after having suffered multiple seizures. There were also rumors that last rites were being given to him and that he was on the verge of death. So people started freaking out. A lot of Twitter followers were sending condolences and things like that. It
was all over Facebook. It was blowing up.
Yeah. But apparently he's fine. He had just had too much sizzurp.
Well, I was questioning the thing about the last rites.
Yeah.
Is Lil Wayne a devout Catholic?
Not as far as I know.
No. And so
I don't think sizzurp is part of the sacrament.
It feels like something somebody would make up because they've seen it on TV a lot.
How often do last rites even get
They're
given?
administered. Mostly, I think they're administered to devout Catholics.
Well, and don't you have to request a priest? It's not like there's just a priest waiting in a hospital just waiting to give you last rites at all times. I mean, I'm sure there is somebody on staff, but...
Well, there's some sort of, like, minister or something at the church. Every, like, sizzurp drinking rapper doesn't get last rites. We're not going to get last rites when we die.
The sizzurp thing is weird, though, because I thought it was just cough syrup, but apparently it's a concoction of prescription-strength cough syrup that has codeine in it.
It's codeine.
With soda and candy.
Yeah.
And you mix it all together. I don't know what the soda and the candy does.
Makes it sweet and yummy.
Well, but the cough syrup's pretty sweet and yummy anyway, isn't it?
I think the cough syrup tastes medicine-y.
Yeah.
But it just has that coating in it, which is so nice.
Well, anyway, his reps are saying that even though he does have a problem with his sizzurp intake, he is not close to death and he's going to be fine.
Oh, good for... I mean, no, I don't really care.
How old is he? He's in his 40s and he's sucking down sizzurp.
Is he that old?
He certainly looks like it. I don't know. He's such a little freak. Speaking of little freaks... Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman are back together after 5 months separation.
Oh, really?
I think you called this, Warren, right? Because when we talked about the fact that they had separated, you said that it would be impossible for either of them to ever find anyone of the same attractiveness level.
Yeah, they're kind of a perfect match that way.
They sort of have to be with each other.
Yeah.
They're both weird, tiny, gnomish people.
Yeah, they were together for a long time, right?
They were. So after a 5-month separation, apparently they're back together, or at least they're working on it. DeVito, 68, and Perlman, 64, have been photographed traveling together recently, said that they're working on a reconciliation. So we can only hope that...
Oh, they're old people. They should be together and be companions in their old age. I don't know what could have possibly broke them up.
Gerard Butler admits he slept with Brandi Glanville, but forgot her name.
Really? It's quite a confession.
I didn't know who Brandi Glanville was. Apparently she's one of the degenerates that was on one of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess Gerard Butler didn't know who she was either because he hooked up with her at some beach party. I guess they had sex, and then she was on some show bragging about how he was like an 11 out of 10 in the lover department and that they had a whole wild week together or something.
And Gerard Butler went, say what now?
Well, and then some paparazzi came up to Gerard Butler and was like, hey, Brandi Glanville. And he went, I don't know who the hell that is. And then it got back to her and she got all upset and realized that maybe she's not really a celebrity at all. And then somebody gave Gerard Butler a picture of her and said, this is the chick that you supposedly had sex with. And then he went, oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I did. That was about it.
Oh, good. I'm glad he handled it that way. That's good.
He apparently called her and bitched her out for saying anything about it. No.
She's not supposed to do that.
No. I know Gerard Butler has a reputation of screwing everything that's walking about on two legs.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Charlie Sheen claims daughter Sam was bullied, asks fans to deliver dog shit to her school. Just when Charlie Sheen was sort of simmering down a little bit, he went on a Twitter rant. He said that his 9-year-old daughter Sam was bullied in school and asked his fans to help him get revenge. Cadre, this is a legitimate call to arms. My daughter Sam was bullied out of school and then called a liar. It's on. If you have a rotted egg, a roll of toilet paper, or some dog shit, I urge you to deliver it with extreme prejudice to their campus run by trolls and charlatans. Make me proud. Not
a good thing to teach your 9-year-old daughter about how to handle your problems.
We will not tolerate this level of abhorrent disrespect towards the child of your favorite warlock. Eat that, loser. So he's back. I don't know, if I were a 9-year-old daughter of Charlie Sheen, I think my worst nightmare would be him getting his dudgeon up and going after people who had supposedly done me wrong. You don't want Charlie Sheen in revenge mode, I don't think.
No. Probably don't want Charlie Sheen as a father, though, either.
Next story.
There's Bieber in his blouse.
And he's got his pearls on again.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber speaks out. My success at 19 must be scary to some people. Bieber has been getting a lot of bad press lately, deservedly, in my opinion. He took to Instagram to set the record straight. Apparently, Instagram is the new thing now. Everyone just does
there's
Instagram
something
shit.
that goes on with Instagram now where you like are Instagram friends or something, or follow each other on Instagram.
Yeah,
or something.
so you post pictures, but you also post giant manifestos all the time. It seems like people are always just writing these huge page-long.
And do they put a picture up too?
I guess. I don't know if every post has to have a picture or what. But anyway, we can read this thing. It's long and rambling as usual. Everyone in my team has been telling me, keep the press happy. But I'm tired of all the countless lies in the press right now, saying I'm going to rehab and how my family is disappointed in me. My family's beyond proud, and nothing's been said by them. My grandparents wouldn't know how to reach to press even if they did want to. So that was a lie, and rehab, come on. If anyone believes I need rehab, that's their own stupidity, LOL. I'm 19 with 5 #1 albums. 19 and I've seen the whole world. 19 and I've accomplished more than I could have ever dreamed of. I'm 19 and it must be scary to some people to think that this is just the beginning. I know my talent level and I know I got my head on straight. I know who I am and I know who I'm not. My message is to believe. My albums could be about anything. That's true. But my messages have been to never say never and believe. Not to believe in me, but to believe in yourself. I honestly don't care if you don't believe in me, because I believe in me. And look where that's gotten me so far.
That's a lot of believes.
I'm writing this with a smile on my face and love in my heart.
LOL.
Letting you know firsthand how I feel rather than have these stories linger. Ugh. I'm a good person with a big heart. And don't think I deserve all of this negative press. I've worked my ass off to get where I am. And my hard work doesn't stop here. All this isn't easy. I get angry sometimes. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to grow and get better for them. But all the love from you guys overcomes the negativity. I love you. Thanks.
What a long thing to write.
Wow.
This is that whole problem with people in this situation where the people around them are telling them they're special in some way.
Yeah.
And the reality, of course, of the situation is that Justin Bieber just hit the lottery.
Yeah.
He just stumbled into something. Any number of people could have stumbled into this situation.
I feel weird about all these pop stars like Justin Bieber, all the people who win American Idol and things like that. Okay, technically, yes, they can sing. And Justin Bieber can dance around. He can do his little thing. He doesn't write any songs. He has no real creative input into anything he does. He's got a whole cadre of people who completely organize every little aspect of his career, his public image, even though they're not doing a great job with that lately because he's gone off the reservation and spouting all sorts of weird crap. But there are thousands and thousands of people who can probably sing just as well as Justin Bieber. People who look just as androgynous as Justin Bieber.
Can wear a blouse just as well as Justin Bieber.
And a string of pearls like Justin Bieber. People who 13-year-old girls would find just as attractive as Justin Bieber. He happened to be the one chosen. And I don't know if all of this acting out is him realizing that in the back of his mind and somehow trying to justify the fact that he is insanely wealthy and idolized by people. Or do you think he's not self-aware enough to even go there?
I don't think he's self-aware about it. I think that's the problem. I think that's the conflict that goes on with a lot of these people.
Yeah.
If you can somehow think about your situation and where you're at, it'd be like, wow, I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
All these things happened. I'm not actually that special.
And have a sense of humor about yourself.
Have a sense of humor about it.
And he does not seem to have a sense of humor about himself at all.
Like Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
Has a little sense of humor about it. People are like charmed by it because they're like, he doesn't seem to like be taking himself seriously.
I don't mind Justin Timberlake at all because his music is obnoxious. I care nothing for his music, but he's having fun, and I think he realizes that he is a product, and he enjoys the recognition.
He's like a star that's been created by this weird star system. Yeah. But he's not like, he doesn't seem to be taking himself very seriously. He doesn't seem to think he's a very, the most important person in the world or anything. And I find that refreshing. Yeah,
that's fine. You can be a weird, sugary pop product. That's fine as long as you don't believe
you're Mozart
the image
or something.
That yeah. It's fine. Now, this next story is kind of interesting. I think most of our listeners will be aware of Kickstarter. It's an online crowdfunding website. Yeah. Let's say you have a project in mind. You can appeal to the users of Kickstarter to donate money to your project, and usually it's for like a t-shirt or you get something for the amount of money you put into the project. So let's say you want to do some sort of art installation somewhere. You put a goal of $20,000. You have a certain amount of time to reach that goal. If you do reach that goal, then you provide, a print of the art project or something for the people who have donated to the project. And the only thing that you're liable for is to actually go through with the project.
You can't just collect the money and just like, ha, ha, ha.
You're not supposed to.
No.
I think that's happened a few times. But recently, Kristen Bell and Rob Thomas...
Rob Thomas, the guy from Matchbox 20?
No, the producer and the creator of Veronica Mars.
Oh, okay.
Did a Kickstarter to see if they could get the Veronica Mars movie made. Apparently, a bunch of nerds liked Veronica Mars.
Have you ever seen Veronica Mars?
Never seen it. No
Is
idea
there some sort of alien thing going on?
I don't know. She was like a detective or something in high school.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care. But they made a Kickstarter for the Veronica Mars movie, made over $2 million in like a day or something, and I think they're still making money. And a lot of people are crying foul because they think that this is pretty much signaling the end of Kickstarter as an actual like crowdfunding source, because Warner Brother owns Veronica Mars.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers is going to distribute whatever movie is made, and it's almost like it's a studio saying, we don't want to bother funding this but we're going to let other people fund it who don't have any stake in it. Once you give them your money, that's it. It's not like...
I don't think Warner Brothers is involved in doing the Kickstarter, though, right?
They were behind it, apparently. They're looking at this as an experiment. It's kind of weird and creepy to me. So if you donate money to the Veronica Mars movie, it's not like you become an executive producer or an associate producer or something.
No.
And it's not like you're getting points off the gross of the film. You're just giving them your money. They're taking it.
Because you want to see a Veronica Mars movie.
Yeah, but if Warner Brothers knows that there's a huge demand for a Veronica Mars movie, and they're the ones who are going to make the profit from the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird. It seems like it's kind of circumventing the reason for Kickstarter to begin with. Once giant corporations start getting involved.
Well, it is, but it's not, though. At the same time, it's like, it's something people want, and so they're putting their, like, money where they want to go, and they want to have this thing happen. And so if this facilitates them seeing a Veronica Mars movie.
Yeah, but can't you see where this could be abused? Where, let's say, Apple was like, oh, we're going to make a new consumer electronics product. We'll put up a little précis of what the product is on Kickstarter. Would you guys like us to make this product? Yeah, and they get millions of dollars in funding.
Just don't give them money then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely voluntary. That's the thing. I would never do that. I'm never going to give them any money to make the Veronica Mars movie. No, I'm no interest in that.
I don't know. There's just something that smacks of cynicism to me. I don't know. It seems kind of weird. I don't like it. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this ends up being a trend where a bunch of studios just decide, let's throw it on Kickstarter. I mean, obviously, $3 million isn't going to make a Hollywood movie. It wouldn't even cover a fraction of the advertising or
well, it's
marketing
strange,
for the
too. I
movie.
think that they're... Just like with a lot of things that there's like a very devoted and passionate following for, but there's not a broad following for. I mean, they could make the movie and the Veronica Mars fans would show up in droves, you know, and watch it like crazy, but there just aren't probably enough Veronica Mars fans to make a movie profitable.
Not like the Warren and Bradley show, the movie.
That's going to be
Our
something.
Kickstarter. Oh my God, it's going to set records as soon as we put
Hey,
that in.
set up a Kickstarter for that. See what happens. See if we get any money.
But if we got money, we'd actually have to make a movie.
We make a movie. We'll use the money donated to make a movie, and we will make a movie.
All right, look for that.
Depending on how much we get.
Look for that on Kickstarter.
This has been Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
So, for the last few months, I've been using some deodorant I got that was expired.
Whoa. How does deodorant expire?
Everything, all like consumer products like that have an expiration date on them.
Okay. So
But I mean, it still worked.
Where did you get expired deodorant? It was like some weird black market?
No. At my work, there's a retail element, and sometimes things expire, and they take them off the shelf, and then they put them on a table in the back. And people are like, "You want some?" Like I used to get, you know, some sort of weird vaginal lube that I would play with that was expired. I don't know.
What are you doing with the vaginal lube?
Just as a joke. Oh, I know what else we did. I got those pregnancy tests once.
Did you take one?
Yeah, I had like some of our friends take them, and we all took them to see what would happen. None of us were pregnant.
Okay.
Even the female among
good.
us.
That's good.
So I was using that, and finally I ran out. So I was like, God damn it, I have to buy some now, which is really annoying. And I went to get deodorant, and it's one of those things that there's a million options, you know, and I have no idea, and I always just buy whatever's on sale or what's the cheapest.
Right.
And there was some Old Spice, this new kind of Old Spice deodorant that was on sale.
New Old Spice.
Yeah, it was like, it had a new packaging and stuff, but what prominently on the sticker on there was like 24-hour protection. This is going to protect you for 24 hours.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I didn't think much of it.
Was it an antiperspirant plus deodorant?
I think so, yeah. So I purchased it, and I put it on. I was like, man, I can really smell that. And then I went 24 hours without reapplying or showering. And I was like, oh my God, it still smelled like as powerful as when I put it on.
Does it smell like Old Spice?
No, I got some sort of like sport or fresh sport, you know, flavor.
If you don't wear deodorant, do you smell?
Yeah, I'll get like BO.
Because I don't really, if I don't wear it.
If you don't put deodorant on, you won't get BO if you work all day?
Not really, no.
Really?
No.
Huh, that's weird.
If I go several days without showering, then it'll start to
You'll
smell.
get BO, but you won't just for during one day.
No.
Actually, I don't know if I would for one day. I think if I sweat a lot during the day, if it was like a summer day, I would probably get...
Well, you sweat a lot.
I do sweat a lot in general.
Do you like the gel?
You know, I bought... When the gel was first introduced many years ago, I bought some of the gel, and I wasn't comfortable with it. It creeped me out. Because it's like gel.
I use the Right Guard Sport gel.
You use the gel still?
Yeah, I like the gel. I don't like the powdery shit.
It's just kind of like the dry kind of like bar of soap that you rub on there.
Yeah, I don't like
That's
it.
what I use.
And it leaves stains on clothing and things like that.
I felt weird about the gel, though. So it was just like putting some like clear paste in my armpits.
Yeah.
I guess if you get used to it, it's not that big a
You
deal.
just let it air out for a little bit.
I know my dad, when I was a child, he always had like Right Guard, but he had like the aerosol can. And you do that.
That shit doesn't work.
Doesn't?
I don't think it works.
They still sell it?
I don't know.
'Cause I didn't even I didn't look, but I didn't see that for an option.
A whole segment based on adverts for deodorant.
Speculating about what they make and what they don't.
So,
do you buy the same kind every time then?
yeah, I have the same kind every time.
Even if it's not on sale? You specifically buy that one kind?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm pretty loyal to brands.
Okay,
and
that's
things.
weird because maybe this is something strange about me.
Yeah.
But every time I buy deodorant, I buy just some random different kind, whatever's on sale, and I just use that. I'll have like Mitchum, I'll have like Right Guard, I'll have Old Spice,
Well, I have
whatever.
a weird sensitive skin thing where there's a lot of different products that will actually cause me to have allergic reactions if I put them on my skin.
Yeah.
And some deodorants are like that, and this one that I've been using, the Right Guard Sport
You know it
gel,
works for you.
It doesn't make me have weird, like itchy, horrible rashes under my arms, so I always use that.
Do you always buy the same toothpaste?
Usually, yeah.
Really? What do you use?
Something Ultimate Whitening.
Some sort of Crest Ultimate Whitening or Colgate or something?
I can't remember if it's Crest or Colgate. It's the hard stuff. It's really strong. You feel it. You put it on there and your mouth just like, tingles.
It's weird that I don't have any brand loyalty to like these things.
What do you feel about all these personal hygiene products? Because America is, I think, at the forefront of no body odor, insane cleanliness.
Yeah.
We're constantly perfumed and powdered and shaved and scented and showered. You are someone who is more...
I don't care.
Laissez-faire about the whole personal hygiene thing. You don't use soap, do you? Or shampoo?
No, I haven't. I haven't been using soap again for a few months, and I haven't been using shampoo.
Yeah.
I've just been rinsing myself off in the shower.
Have you traveled internationally and noticed a difference in body odors as compared to Americans?
No, but I not when I've been abroad, but I have like noticed when they are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about it? Do you think that we should just give it up and just get used to people smelling in a certain way?
I think it'd be better. The thing that really actually kind of gives me a headache is like a lot of perfume.
Yeah. The over application.
Yeah, the over application of perfume, and it's like really just like intense and kind of like burns my eyes almost. And I think that's unnecessary. Or like lots of cologne, and you smell the person like an hour after they left the room.
You know, if I don't wear any antiperspirant or deodorant or anything like that, but if I'm clean and I just smell like me, it's just a skin sort of smell.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's not offensive.
No,
in any way.
And I don't mind that smell on other people either.
Yeah,
just in general, I don't want like a foul smell, like the smell of sickness or something.
But I think we've gotten so sensitive to it because I will notice, you know, if I'm with a girl or something and there's a hint of body odor, it's not necessarily enough to like turn me off immediately, but you definitely, we are so hyper aware of that, I think, as a society.
You notice it, but does it bother you?
It depends. I don't know. Usually women don't smell as bad as men will smell if they smell bad. There are certain...
But you're also not as intimate with men as you are with women.
Well, no.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about it, because I tried to do that experiment once where I didn't use soap and didn't use shampoo because I was trying to be like, the natural balance that your body will do, because we strip all the sebum off our bodies and then it gets dry and then it has to produce more to try to... And so it feels like you're just constantly in a losing battle. So I thought I would try that, but then the problem is I get so dirty at work that...
You actually have to scrub dirt off of you.
Yeah, water alone isn't enough to take concrete off or out of your hair. You know?
Yeah, I don't have that kind of job. The way I'm dirty is I'm dirty from like the salt from the sweat as I've been like working. It's not like I'm getting covered in dirt or anything, so I can just rinse that stuff off.
Well, it's like a dog. I mean, a dog can get kind of smelly and gross, but for the most part, if you don't bathe the dog, they'll just smell like a dog, and it's not an offensive odor. And I think humans would be that way as well. We would just develop an equilibrium.
But I think what happens with people's like personal hygiene decisions and stuff is somehow they get an idea about the way it has to be, and they stick to that, and they can never like take a layer off from these things. It's like the old woman that is 90 and like going down the street and just covers her face with all sorts of like makeup and like rouges and all this thing. And it's like, there's no reason for you to do that. It looks ridiculous what you're doing right now.
I dated a girl who was obsessed with eye makeup.
Yeah.
She would not go anywhere without having eye makeup. And I like it when a girl can look good without makeup, because I find the whole idea of like putting a bunch of foundation and making yourself up, and that's only then do you look good. That does not appeal to me.
No, I find that unattractive as well.
That's very unattractive. And she wouldn't wear any other makeup other than eye makeup. We dated for over 2 years, and it occurred to me, I was like, I have never seen you without eye makeup. She would get up in the morning and go take a shower, and I wouldn't see her again until she had applied the eye makeup. It was so important to her that she have the eye makeup on. And I finally once, like, wash it off, let me see. And she was like, oh, it was this horrible thing. But she finally did it. And I was like, you look great.
Yeah.
Fine. She was Asian, so she didn't need eye makeup.
But people get those ideas in their head, right?
Yeah, we get weirdly emotionally attached to our routine or our ablutions that we go through.
And I know girls are that way a lot too, about something about like, oh, I didn't go through my half an hour long weird hair routine this morning, so I must look terrible. And you're like, no, you look better.
Yeah.
You look better.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. That's not serving any purpose.
Well, it's the
you
same.
think you're controlling something that you're not controlling. You think you're controlling the way I feel about you or other people feel about you.
Yeah.
When it's like all you're doing is doing a weird thing to yourself. It's not doing anything for anyone else.
And I'm not saying that people just don't do anything, just let yourselves go entirely. But I do, and you're right, it is about control. Like if I go through with this little ritual that I've developed, that means that I'm put together and now I can face the world.
It's like an obsessive compulsive thing where it's like if I touch the doorknob this many times, it's like I'll be fine when I go out. If I do these certain things to my body, then that means I'm prepared to be seen by other people, and then I can go out and interact with them. When really to the other people, sometimes you look ridiculous, or sometimes you just are doing a bunch of things that don't matter to anyone.
I have similar things where, if I just woke up and I don't really have much hair right now because I shaved it all off, but if I wake up and my hair is all matted and I look like a crazy person, I probably wouldn't go out until I had like washed my hair or, done something. And I think that's fine. Like you don't want to, I hate it when people just throw on sweatpants and flip-flops and go outside. It's like put yourself together a little bit. But
I will say about women, that if you can't just put on flip-flops and sweatpants and look okay, you're not going to fix that, despite how much work you want to do.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's true of like probably men too. It's like, I'm going to try, this is who I am, but I'm going to do all these weird things, and then it's like I don't know, it bothers me. And I think that there's a whole industry built around this, right? Yeah. The whole idea that you have to have all these certain products to do this, to make yourself right.
Preying on people's insecurity and their feelings about themselves and their appearance. I mean, that is, in our society, we judge people so much based on their appearance, as we should.
Of course.
I hate over application of makeup. I find it completely a turnoff. It really drives me crazy.
Yeah. I find just that over finickiness to be like a turnoff.
You know when women's faces are a different color than the rest of their skin because of all like foundation that they put on there, and you can see this thick caked layer of this makeup, and then it starts cracking around their eyes and things. It's just really unattractive.
It's not doing it for you.
Run around like French mimes.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's wipe off the makeup. Let's see
I'm
the real
all for
you.
Let's wipe off the makeup. Just use as much perfume, just a little bit, maybe just a touch, or a cologne, just a dab.
Yeah, and
let's not go crazy.
Don't go crazy in the opposite direction, because I don't like dirty hippies either. Just be, let's get a little proportion, a little sense of moderation.
Please.
Come on.
A plea for moderation.
Plea for moderation. So the other day I was sitting around thinking, often a lot of the content of our podcast is us complaining about things, especially me complaining about things, ills in society. We just had a segment about people using too much makeup and taking too much care of themselves.
People having parades. I lost my sunglasses.
Or just dropped his sunglasses because he was wearing them on the back of his head. Pause here.
A second. I got him.
But I was thinking, if you and I live to a ripe old age and we're still hanging out together, what do you think we'll be bitching about in 40 years' time? If society continues going the way it's going, and there's no guarantee that it will, but it seems now that we're getting more and more liberal about what people do in terms of, sexually, behaviorally, but at the same time, we also seem to be getting more and more prudish about speech. People are always jumping down people's throats for saying something in a weird way. It's this weird dichotomy between really, really liberal, just do what you feel, do whatever feels good, but then at the same time being like Nazis about speech and appearances in a strange way. But if our society continues on this route, where do you think things will have gone by that point, and what will we be complaining about when we're old men doing the Warren and Bradley show in like 2054?
Well, it's true in the sense that like 100 years ago, let's say, someone being like a homosexual or participating in a homosexual act of some sort, would people be like, that's awful.
Yeah.
But someone made an off-color joke about something, people would be like, that's off-color.
Yeah.
Now it's like we've gone to a place where it's like where gay people are getting married, and we're like, oh, this is good that we're celebrating this. This is fine. But if somebody makes a joke that in some way
could be interpreted
offends
as
some
derogatory
group in some slight way, that is like worse than Hitler.
Yeah.
Can't believe you did that. That's the danger where I see where we're going, right?
That's what I don't understand. I don't understand this liberal mentality going hand in hand with this crazy politically correct, the Ministry
thought
of
control
Thought from or the Thought Police from 1984. I don't see how the two go together, because you would think that speech would be freer once all our actions were freer as well. And it's weird because I was actually looking back, around the turn of the century, the turn of the last century, there were all these weird vibrators on the market.
Oh, but they were marketing them as different things, right?
Well, this is what's weird. Okay, so female sexuality was this strange, nefarious thing that people didn't really talk about, but everyone understood that sometimes women would suffer from hysteria.
Yeah.
And
they need hysterectomies.
Well, and sometimes the hysteria was caused by the need for sexual release, for orgasm. And this wasn't explicitly stated, but it was understood. So doctors developed vibrators.
Yeah.
And they would actually treat women. Women would come in. They were like, suffering from hysteria and fainting spells. They had their fainting couches and everything strategically placed. They'd come into the doctor's office, and he would go, and root at her with a crazy, like, steam-powered vibrator or something, whatever the hell they had. I think they had electricity by that point. And she would come to climax, and that was her treatment.
Yeah.
And then they started saying, okay, well, we need to make home vibrators for these women so they can treat themselves, or the husband can treat them for their hysteria. I saw ads for, like, the Sears catalog for vibrators.
And didn't they call them something different?
Well, they didn't explicitly say this is for
They're
you.
Like a massage thing, right?
Well, it was for female pleasure, release. But everyone knew what it was, and it was...
But then we talked to...
You don't open the Sears catalog now and find vibrators.
No.
But 120 years ago, there were ads for vibrators, and everyone knew what they were, and everyone knew what they did. And
but but you wouldn't, like, just come out and say what they were for.
No, but
everyone knew.
But it even said, like, for stimulating female pleasure. I'll find one of the ads, and I'll put it on our website at warrenandbradley.com. But now, even though people are, like, fucking each other with strap-ons and going insane, you would not open the Sears catalog and find a harness and, like, master and slave set in the Sears catalog. These two lines are crossing in this strange way, like one's going up and one's going down. One's getting more prohibitive and one's getting more loose and crazy and just do what you feel. But there's no sense, they don't match up right now.
Yeah.
It's weird. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No. I see what you're saying, though. It's kind of it is a dichotomy.
It's like we're all doing crazy shit, but you're not supposed to talk about it.
Yeah.
We're both speechless. Pondering this amazing...
I don't like the where we're going with speech. I think that's really a problem. And I think it's like the whole like gotcha situation. And I think we talked about like with Zero Dark 30 about how like people were upset with the movie because it wasn't like preachy enough about.
Right.
And so it's like even you can't even make a movie without like it's conforming to a certain political agenda.
You can't show a movie that shows torture without decrying it within the movie. Instead of just factually showing what happened and letting people make their own decisions about whether or not torture is something that we should have been using or utilizing, you have to be preachy and moralizing within the movie, or else you've somehow crossed some line because you haven't like conformed to a certain like political viewpoint. I have this theory that as religion has decreased in the country, this strange construct of what sin is has replaced the old construct. Like, if you were a religious person, there were certain prohibitions, there were certain things you couldn't do, certain things you could do, certain things that would make you righteous, certain things that would make you a sinner. And now, as more and more people have gotten irreligious, society has constructed new things that aren't based on religion or any sort of codified thing, so you don't really know what people are going to pick and what people aren't going to pick.
But they're based on a concept of, like, there's a right thing to do and a wrong thing to do.
Right.
There's a morally correct thing to do,
right,
which is, like, recycle. But if you take your aluminum can and throw it in the garbage can...
You have sinned.
You've sinned. You've made a choice that's morally reprehensible.
Yeah.
And that you should, be punished or shamed in some way.
And even though we've decided that personal freedom, sexual freedom, you do whatever the fuck you want, that has become one of the tenets of the new religion. So even though we have gotten more free, we've gotten less free because you can't say anything bad about any of those things, because then you have actually broken one of the tenets of the religion.
And you can't make a joke.
Yeah.
Apparently, because a joke is like somehow attacking, even when it's not.
So actually, we've cracked it right there. We've gotten to the nub of it. That's why speech has become more prohibited, is because this new religion of liberalism, of social justice, just people should be free to do whatever they want in the privacy of their own homes, and you're supposed to celebrate whatever lifestyle choice anybody makes. You can no longer joke about those things. You can no longer talk about those things in any way that would be considered derisive.
But it's a liberalism in the sense that it's like a liberalism that, like, protects certain things and doesn't respect other things, right?
Yeah.
Because I've always been extremely liberal in that sense. Like, I don't care what anyone does sexually.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. As long as you're not hurting anybody, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I also have this thing where it's like, I know we have a lot of talk about, like, guns right now. People are like, we got to ban all these guns. We got to ban all these guns. And I don't have any guns, and I don't care about guns, but I also know that there are a huge percentage of the population that is really interested in having guns. Mm-hmm. And so I'm kind of like, I think we should respect those people's rights, but it's like their rights don't matter. No. Right?
Well, it just shows the weird reactionary nature of our society now. Like, somebody gets killed, and we don't think about these problems unless they jump out in our faces. I have this mentality that a lot of people would not agree with, where I hated the Patriot Act when it came out. I hated all the enhanced security at the airport after 9/11.
Yeah.
Because my opinion is, I would rather have people get killed than institute a weird police state.
Yes.
Whereas a lot of people are willing to say, well, I don't care if some of my freedom gets taken away because safety is the most important thing in the world. Safety to me is not the most important thing. I understand that we live in a world where people will die and accidents will happen, and there are horrible people who will kill people sometimes. And I understand that's just kind of the cost of doing business.
It's important to see those things in context, right?
Yeah. It's the same thing with smoking. It's like, I don't like smoking. I don't care that you do. And I've been told my whole life that smoking is horrible and it kills, it's 500,000 people a year die of secondhand smoke. It's not true, but who cares if it's true? Because the people who smoke are minorities. The people who own guns are minorities. So don't like it.
It's because I don't smoke.
Yeah.
Like, me, personally, I don't smoke and I don't have guns.
Yeah.
So it's like, why don't I just ban it for everybody else?
Exactly. And I don't think that way, And
neither do I. But I consider that a much more, like, liberal perspective, in the sense that you're like, people like to talk about being tolerant, and they're like, I'm going to take away your cigarettes and take away your guns and take away everything that I don't value that you do.
Yeah.
And make you do everything that I do because the way I live is correct.
Right.
That's not actually being liberal or tolerant.
No.
That's just forcing people to live in a certain way.
That's the thing I've railed against 1,000 times, is the fact that modern liberalism, which preaches tolerance, is one of the most intolerant political philosophies you can actually ever imagine, because we know what's right. We know what's good for you. We know how you're supposed to behave, how you're supposed to treat other people, how you're supposed to regard other people, how you're supposed to talk about other people. And if you don't do these things, then you're a horrible, evil, sexist, misogynist, racist, homophobic bastard. And it's ridiculous. And I think there's a backlash coming. That's why I was kind of thinking of the future and wondering what things are going to be like in 40 years. I'm already seeing stirrings of people getting fed up with this kind of discussion.
But the problem is sometimes the backlash comes from the other direction and goes the other way.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where it's like, that's the third way idea.
Yeah.
Where it's like people pushing from this direction saying, I'm super liberal, I'm very tolerant, but I'm going to try to ban everything you have and value.
Yeah.
To other people being like, I value guns and cigarettes and, like, cars that burn a lot of gas, but I don't value, like, your rights, sexual rights or anything. So I'm going to try to ban those things. Yeah. The third way is to be, like, tolerant of both both perspectives and be like, okay, you people who want to live this way, you don't want to smoke, you don't want to have any guns, and you want to have a gay marriage. Go ahead. You want to live in a trailer with a gas-guzzling Suburban and have a gun, you know what I mean, and smoke all the time on your back porch. You do that too. What we don't have to do is try to stop each other from living the way they want to live. Right. That's the point of having a free country.
I think you and I have figured this stuff out.
Well, it's just
if people just listen to the Warren and Bradley show, if we get the world leaders, get Obama, listen to the show.
I think if you're going to ban something, or if you're going to do something like that, it better be for reasons that make sense, right? Like, you're going to save a lot of lives, or it's a public policy decision that's going to affect a lot of people in a positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The great example I love is from a old South Park episode where the kids were forced to go to the Museum of Tolerance, and of course the tour guide through the museum is going off about how horrible, injustices that have taken place in the past. And then as they get out into the courtyard of the Museum of Tolerance, there's a guy sitting on a fountain smoking, and the tour guide goes up to the person and just derides him and berates him for smoking and calls him a horrible, horrible person. That's kind of where we are.
But this is where, as a person, the person that's doing that, this is where you have to understand what tolerance actually is. Mm-hmm. Tolerance isn't just everyone doing what you want them to do. It's tolerating people that are doing things you don't want them to do. That's what tolerance is.
Well, then there's also the difference between tolerating and celebrating. You're not supposed to just tolerate alternative lifestyle choices. You're supposed to celebrate those choices. And, I don't give a shit what people do, but that's not what tolerating means. Tolerating means you might not like it, you might not approve of it, you might even say things about it, that are derogatory, but you let it happen because you're tolerating their right to do what they want to do.
But that's also a very sophisticated way to think, right? Because if, let's say I'm a Mormon or something, and I don't like, premarital sex, and there are people having premarital sex, I, get angry at them, I yell at them, I try to pass laws in Utah banning what they're doing and stuff, because I think that thing's wrong. The other thing you can do is just step back and be like, that's what they're doing. I don't value it. I don't have to celebrate it and get out and be like, what they're doing is fine and I love it in every single way. But at the same time, I have to know that these people that are behaving in this way are doing what they're doing, but they're tolerating my religious beliefs that they don't like.
Well, that's what's ridiculous now is, okay, let's say there is some religious leader who doesn't like gay marriage.
Yeah.
I don't agree with this person, but I think that they should have a right based on their religious beliefs to say, I don't agree with this. They're not saying, and you don't say, oh, I want to force it to be banned. I want some sort of legislation. I hate gay people. But they could just say, I don't like gay marriage. Just making that statement causes a huge firestorm of people just jumping down their throats. How dare you say that? How dare you? You have no right to say something like that.
Or if a denomination, I don't think in our church, we don't want to have these services go on in our churches.
Yeah.
Not acceptable, right?
Yeah.
At this point. Because it's like, you can't just tolerate what's going on. You have to
facilitate.
You have to facilitate it.
It's weird
because that's what liberty is, and it's like that's what liberty is for the people that are getting married. Yeah. That's not what liberty is for the people that don't want to participate in that thing. If they're trying to stop them from getting married, that's a different thing. If they're just don't want to participate, that's their right. That's their free exercise.
You would think so.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
You would.
But
would you think so, Warren and Bradley Show listeners? Let us know at podcast.
Yeah, let us know.
warrenandbradley.com.
Because I don't feel like this is the most sophisticated thing to think about, yet it seems like no one thinks this way. It's very rare that people think about things this way.
It goes back to the things we talk about all the time where people are just obsessed with their own world. And you might have some moral... It happens with conservatives all the time. They're like, oh, I don't want government involved. But then when you talk about government forcing... banning gay marriage, like, well, yeah, let's have government. No, you either have an ideology or you don't.
Yeah.
And that ideology might mean that some things you don't like happen, but where do you believe? What do you believe? What are your morals?
Yeah.
If I don't want the government involved in my life, that means I don't want the government involved in any aspect, not some things that I agree with.
That's where that kind of
it's intellectual honesty.
Well, the Republican sort of ideology that coming out now that people associate, they say is the Tea Party talk, right? Is the sense that we hate government, but it mostly seems to have a lot to do with just forcing their perspective on things, which is not.
You can't have it both ways.
That's not less government.
No.
That's just government doing what you want it to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got it all figured out. Hopefully everyone else
It's a
will
very
step
simple
in
philosophy, which is just try to,
We're going to institute my deputies to control how people behave. Actually, that goes that's counter.
Force people to be
everything we've
tolerant.
actually just been talking about, but whatever. All right, getting deep on the Warren and Bradley
it's
show.
mind-blowing.
But I think that's enough time for this episode. I've been one of your hosts, Bradley Victor.
I'm the other host, Warren Van.
Saying,
Chill the fuck out, everybody.
Indeed.
This has been the Warren and Bradley Show, brought to you by Warren Van and Bradley Victor. For podcast news and information, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Warren and Bradley. Follow the show on Twitter at Warren and Brad. Subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. For episode archives and episode pictures, go to warrenandbradley.com, and to contact the show, write to podcast at warrenandbradley.com.